Gates Adams here on behalf of Apex Trader Funding. I am back with Trader Larry. Larry, we got a chance to speak to a couple of months ago after his first payout. Now we've got a couple more payouts under the belt. And one of the things that I always like to do is kind of get that update and see how things transition after that first milestone gets hit. And we get to move forward from there. Larry, congratulations and welcome back, man. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good.
Excellent.
How are you?
I'm fantastic,
right.
man. I appreciate you spending a little bit more time and sharing a little bit more of your experience with us here. Look, we know that the world of trading, it's got its highs and lows. It's an emotional roller coaster. It's a fiscal roller coaster. So we spoke a couple months ago, and that was payout number 1. And you just told me before we started that you've just taken out payout number 3. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. When you went back to the charts after that first payout, what changed, if anything, for you in the way that you approached the charts and the way that you approached your strategy? Did you see any shifts in confidence, good or bad?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the first payout was really good, and then the second one, man, the second month, I was like, man, I really got this going on. Mm-hmm. But then I had emotional. A lot of things happened in my life that were just not going good, and I've been trading for 17 years. I said, you don't trade when your mind is not there. I still did, and I hit a roller coaster. I was nearly maybe $200 to $300 from a drawdown. I'm like, man, maybe this is it. But I just dug deep, and and then I just got my mind straight, and I kind of was patient a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm above the water again.
so now you're 2 payouts in, and you're almost back to square one. Because you fail that account, it's back to evaluation mode. Just like I talked about that sequence of events. When you got to that point and you realized that you were so close, do you feel like you became more focused, or was there an element of luck that went into getting out of this hole, or how did that actually look for you?
It's always an element of luck. Yes, that always was involved. But you did do deep. You just take some time off, went on a little vacation with the family, and to tell you what happened is my wife has been losing her vision very rapidly.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
And it's we don't know why. It was just a very emotional time. I have to support my sons. I have to support my agent. There's a lot of pressure, and I started feeling that pressure. It was just a very bad emotional time. But I tell you, I'm just so grateful that I took a step back, took a few days off, went at it again, and back to making good trades again. And I'm just so grateful that Apex. Apex, I just love you guys. I mean, if it wasn't for you guys, I got it because of the financial support, the extra money beyond my regular job. I can go to the doctor's appointment with my wife. I can do all the stuff that I'm supposed to be doing.
Sure.
And it's just so comforting to know that if this becomes a permanent situation, I hope not, that I have something like this. If I can keep my performance up. Yeah, I'm really grateful for what ATF has been there for.
I've often made the comment that I feel like trading is a reflection of our personal life, or our life in general, and I think that our life in general sometimes becomes a reflection of what happens in the charts. It's a two-way street.
Yes. How can we not?
Exactly.
My brother used to. I got trading was my brother was, but he was back in 2004. He was saying, don't put emotion in the game. I don't know. I mean, there's some truth to that, but we're human. We're human. So we trade with love. And we also trade with pain and all that stuff.
And what's not possible is to separate the two. In my opinion, now I'll flat out say that, because there are going to be things that happen. I mean, I think the sage advice is, if you have a fight with your spouse, if you're dealing with severe financial pressure, if it's a temporary thing, hopefully, if you have some sort of very deep level of especially negative emotion, but I think it can go both ways. We can't necessarily control whether or not that's going to show up in the charts, but we can control whether or not we show up in the charts.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I think that's just very insightful, and you've got the experience. I mean, you're not new at this process and things like that, so I think that absolutely plays into it. But I think that's an important message for people to receive, that, hey, I don't have to trade every day. And
yes.
If I start to see that, my performance is suffering, or that I'm just not focused, it's okay to take that day off or that week off, or simply just separate myself and put myself in, vacation mode, or whatever the case may be, and reconnect with what's truly important, so that the charts can simply be, looking for my strategy, looking for my entry points, reading the market, as opposed to operating out of anger, fear, frustration, or whatever might be at play. Here you are, a shining example of this this, you got so close to having to start fresh. And look, it's not the end of the world if you do. Look, realistically speaking, it's probably going to happen at some point.
Yeah, you just do it.
Not the end of the world. However, to be able to be at that point and manage yourself the way that you did and simply separate yourself when you needed to separate yourself and focus on, yes, we all know that no strategy is perfect, and we can say that luck comes into play, but within the framework of that edge that we have as whatever our strategy provides us. Being able to be focused enough. What I tend to do in that situation, and this is a big struggle of mine, is I tend to overposition, which is just going to pull me out quicker. I mean, I could have a perfect trade, but because I overposition, that $200 or $300 is gone, and then I'm back at ground zero. And so being able to show that level of discipline, I think, is just such a key factor in developing the type of emotional control that's what long-term success as a trader is really.
Gates, and I think you're right. Repositioning part. When I was like in that hole, I'm like, oh, I gotta do a big trade, get me out quick. No, I kind of did some. Oh, well, okay, we got a little bit here, a little bit here, and for like a whole almost 2 weeks, I was like, I'm not out of it. You just feel so uncomfortable. It's kind of like you can't get it back all at once, and sometimes when you try, that's when you overposition. Yeah,
it's like you're standing on the edge of a cliff trying to balance your way back in, and a lot of times that effort to balance your way back into solid ground is what puts you off kilter. You'd have been fine if you'd have just left it alone, right? And just continue to do what you do, but that's not how human nature works. Again, I just applaud you for maybe under positioning and taking those little bites and those little steps out of this hole and allowing that edge to take effect, because if your edge and you know that you're going to win 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, or whatever the case may be, you plan for that extra smaller margin that you have to work with and say, look, I may lose 2 or 3 trades before I get in the green here. I'm okay with that as long as my position size allows me to do so.
And you know what else? I also went back and looked at some of the trades and say, okay, what am I doing? So I'm trying to learn what I did before. And I think I've learned some new things that I didn't have before.
I think that trading is that never-ending journey. I don't think we ever are there. I think it is a constant.
17 years. I'm still making. How many times have I made the mistake? Don't trade when you're not ahead right. How many times I did that? But I'm still doing that even today.
Do you think that the value for you was getting out of the hole, or do you think the bigger value was the lessons that you learned by being there in the first place?
Number 2, lessons learned. I think, I mean, but of course, there's value in both.
Sure.
You learn the lesson of, watch out when your head is not straight, of course. But then you learn all the other stuff. Trying to get, a lot of people have been saying get more than one account. I saw it on Facebook. So now on some evaluations, I'm pretty close to getting another one. So learning those new things so I can start getting more and more, more success out of this.
Well, and the good news is that you got there, because that was after payout number 2. You said you're at payout number 3. So not only did you get out of the hole, you reached that threshold, you took another payout. Now you're building more evaluations. So this is this growth process, and I love the fact that you're taking a step that's yet again new, because there's always going to be new steps. So this step is now multiple accounts. With multiple accounts, do you think that you'll trade with a copier across multiple accounts, or do you think you'll trade them differently?
No, I only do S&P futures. So I figure, hey, I'm pushing one button, let me just trade. It's going to be all just the copier. Yes, the copier.
Well, and a thought here becomes, hey, look, if I'm trading one account, if I build that up to 5 accounts and I reduce my position size by half, here's how my brain works. I'm still 2.5 times higher with much more limited risk.
That's what. Yeah.
And I think that's where traders kind of maybe get caught up in the whole multiple account scenario, is they keep their position size the same because they just want that 5x versus putting themselves in a stronger position than they would have been, increasing their potential returns with consistent results, obviously, but lessening that risk. And that's where that multiplication factor and the fact that 20 is an option. You can go half your position size at 20 and now you're 10x, but with less risk. And so when we start looking at how we want to make that growth happen, we have a lot of options. And that's one of the things I love about Apex is the fact that it's not just a platform to trade, it's a platform to build and develop and grow in multiple different ways. And here you are in that next phase. I would love to continue to see how these things grow and develop for you. And of course, I wish you all the best in the situation with your wife. And look, personal life is part of our world. And yeah, a lot of people can separate that from work, but trading is such an emotional business that I think it's harder in trading than it is pretty much anything else.
Yeah.
And I applaud you for taking the steps that you've taken. Obviously, that shows a lot of maturity in the way that you trade, and I think that this is going to be very indicative of what your future is going to look like. I want to continue to see you grow and build, and let's do some more of these and see how things are going.
Oh yeah, it's been awesome.
Well, congratulations on your continued growth, man. I want to
Yeah.
see you. I want to see you at 20 accounts, 10xing your results.
You know,
now that-
I really want to talk to people about that. Like, do people just? I'm doing it on a step by step.
Yeah.
But I wonder if someone just do 20 at once. But it just seems to me like, whoa, like 20. You know. But,
I can answer that question, and yes, people absolutely do. And I think that the mindset really depends on where they are in their journey. I think a lot of people do it too soon, and then I think a lot of people do it too late. I think that there's that balance point where you're confident, your results are consistent, and that's really when you scale to that level. It's not necessary to do more contracts. Do more accounts, man. Well, keep doing what you're doing, and we will chat with you soon.
okay, Gates, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.